It was one of Sydney's most enduring mysteries that saw the face of Samantha Knight in her urchin's cap become deep etched in the memories of those of us who lived through that terrible time. Then, as is so frequently the case when children are harmed, Samantha's killer was always present, always a heartbeat away, a dependable family member. But it took a long time to capture the beast, and during that time he attacked numerous more children while making his way to a protective cell far from the other inmates who would gladly rip him to pieces if they could get their hands on him. This video will detail everything from start to finish about how things in this case unfolded and how killer almost escaped justice. But before continuing, if you like strange and true crime stories, then please consider subscribing our channel and also press the bell icon to regular video notification. Samantha Therese Knight was born Samantha Therese O'Meager on 25 March 1977. She lived at Manly with her parents, Tess Knight and Peter O'Meager, but they divorced at an early stage. Knight then lived with her mother in Brant. By 1986, they were living in a block of flats in Imperial Avenue, Bondi. At 4:30 p.m. on the Tuesday afternoon of 19 August 1986, 9-year-old Samantha Knight left her Bondi flat, where she lived with her mother Tess and their black cat Midnight, to go to the shops in nearby Bondi Road to buy some lollies and a pencil. Samantha made her purchases and soon after was positively identified by a neighbor walking alone along Bondi Road. 3 other witnesses said that they may have seen Samantha walking, perhaps hand in hand, but not for certain, with a man that afternoon, but it couldn't be confirmed. Then the pretty little girl in the cap simply vanished. Samantha's disappearance triggered one of the biggest investigations in Sydney's history, an investigation which saw her face on posters all throughout Sydney's suburbs and as far away as Newcastle. They asked the question, "Have you seen this girl?" But no one had. There were countless alleged sightings, the majority from well-meaning citizens and the rest from cruel hoaxers, but none offered the slightest positive clue as to what may have become of Samantha Knight. Despite relentless campaigning by Samantha's family to keep the case in the public awareness, a $50,000 reward offered by the NSW government for any information, and the press running stories at the slightest opportunity to keep the case alive, it wasn't until 14 years later that relentless investigators revealed that at last they had a definite suspect. On 11 February 2000, convicted Sydney pedophile Michael Anthony Guiter, 49, was convicted of sex offenses against 2 5-year-old children between 1982 and 1985. Guiter was 4 years into a 10-year sentence for 60 counts of drugging and molesting 11 children aged 2 to 16 and possessing thousands of pornographic pictures of children, which he had taken. Although found guilty, Guiter wasn't given any additional jail time on top of his existing sentence. "There is little point in my imposing an additional term. He's already looking at 6 more years, which in my opinion is long enough to deal with any problems that he has," Judge O'Reilly told the court. Apparently, shortly after Michael Guiter was initially sent to Lithgow jail for 10 years in 1996, he was questioned by detectives about Samantha Knight's disappearance. He was questioned about the matter again in 1999. And he was questioned again before and after his 2000 conviction. It seemed that Michael Guiter had once been a family friend who had acted as babysitter on several occasions to Samantha Knight and some of her friends. A year later, on 21 February 2001, Michael Guiter stood before the court at his committal hearing charged with the murder of Samantha Knight more than 14 years earlier. Those who had known him previously gasped as he was brought into the court. Dressed in prison greens, his bespectacled face was almost completely covered in a prison-grown bushy gray beard, and long unkempt hair hung down over his face and shoulders. Guiter was unrecognizable. He had grown the ultimate disguise. Documents presented to the court stated that Guiter, a former North Shore landscaper and gardener, had admitted to witnesses that he had drugged Samantha to take naked pictures of her, but he had given her too many sleeping pills and she had accidentally died. Documents also said that Guiter had admitted to molesting and taking pornographic pictures of many children over the previous 20 years. Two of the victims were Samantha's girlfriends. The documents said that Geider had initially endeared himself to Samantha when she was 5 and lived at Manly and had two girlfriends of similar age. Geider was a friend of their families. When Samantha moved to Bondi at the age of 7, she stayed friends with the girls and would regularly visit their homes, sometimes for sleepovers. During the following years, Michael Geider occasionally babysat for Samantha and her two girlfriends, drugging them with sleeping pills in soft drink and taking obscene pictures of them while they slept. Medical records verified that Geider regularly bought the prescription drug Normicin, a sleeping pill that could undoubtedly cause toxic overdose, especially in a 9-year-old child, if too many were taken. Michael Geider had purchased Normicin in the month leading up to Samantha's disappearance. Samantha's mother Tess and father Peter O'Meager, who had separated before their daughter went missing, sat intently through the proceedings. They listened as, one by one, 3 prisoners who had been in jail with Michael Geider told of his confessions to them. One told the court that Geider had told him he had given Samantha too much Normicin and that if police had looked under bushes in nearby Cooper Park they would have found her. Another said that Geider had told him that he was the man the 3 witnesses thought they saw Samantha with and that he had taken her to a cave in North Sydney. There he drugged her and photographed her and went away for a brief time. When he came back she was dead. He buried her in a park, then dug her body up later and put it in the garbage and it was taken away, never to be found. In March 2003, he told police he had buried Knight in the grounds of the Royal Sydney Yacht Squadron. On 15 May, a dig took place there, but nothing was found, in spite of a police sniffer dog reacting positively to soil from the site. The dog's handler said the reaction was as positive as the dogs were capable of showing and was surprised that nothing was found. He was as sure as he could be that a body had been there. Police believed that Geider had been telling the truth at last, but thought Knight's remains may have been removed accidentally during the construction of a car park 18 months after Geider buried her at the site, or that Geider himself may have removed them when he heard the site was going to be dug up. Michael Geider was committed for trial, where he pleaded guilty to the manslaughter, not murder, of Samantha Knight after arriving at a deal with the Crown, with the approval of Samantha's family. It carried a maximum of 25 years in jail. Geider received 17 years with a minimum of 12 to be served concurrently with the term he was already serving. This means that all he really got for killing Samantha Knight was 8 years. That's if he's a good boy. But then again, there aren't any little girls in jail, are there? It turned out that one of the 3 prisoners who gave evidence against Michael Geider was his own brother Tim, who was serving a 10-year sentence for matters relating to an armed robbery. Given that it was alleged that it was Tim's information against his brother that brought about the conviction in the first place, Tim was given a pardon and released from jail. As to the question of what really happened to Samantha Knight on that fateful day, or where her remains are, remains a mystery and for her parents a nightmare.